What's up, everyone? My name is Cassidy. I also go by 1am. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I don't really make content like this, but I wanted to share this unique video because it's not every day that one leaves their home state and goes to another home state. So with that out of the way, I moved from California with my husband to the Reno, Nevada area. And when I was researching, there weren't a lot of helpful videos, kind of explaining some of the pros and cons living out here in the Reno area. A lot of the videos on YouTube were made by realtors and people that buy homes. I am just a humble young artist living out here in an apartment with my husband. So I will kind of go a little bit into why we moved, what we're looking for. So born and raised from the Bay, from the Bay. Born and raised in the Bay, me and my husband, we were living out in the San Jose area, Santa Clara area. We were honestly struggling. I have no idea how we were surviving, but by the grace of God, we were doing okay, But there were a lot of things that we just started to feel weighed down and tired of dealing with constantly living in the Bay. So we were wanting to leave, and we just had family over here in the Reno area, and they were doing well. And every time we would come to visit them, it was just a good time. And so we finally made the move, and now we're finally here, and it's been a month since we've been here. And so that's why I'm going to be kind of sharing a little bit of some of the pros and cons I've discovered living here for 1 month. Keep that in mind. So pro number one, me and my husband, we love going outdoors. We always love visiting the different state parks and the national parks in California. That's just our thing. Being out here in the Reno area, there's so many outdoor things. Hiking, there's Tahoe, there's lakes, there's fishing, there's off-roading, there's wild horses. There's just a lot of beautiful things out here. And it's really cool to be able to see the Sierra Nevadas and that state line of where California and Nevada meet. And it's very refreshing. So that's one of the best things so far that I've been enjoying. The second pro so far that we've been enjoying is a lot of the family-friendly events. And I just put quotations because when you think of Reno, people think of like a mini Las Vegas. And yeah, there's casinos, there's adult things out here, but there was a car show, there's food truck Fridays, there's a river walk. There's just a lot of fun things that you can do with your family, and it's not just a bunch of bars and casinos. Like, there's actually really nice stuff, and that's kind of something that we really love and respect. It's just been really cool to see a lot of families get out and, have community. Nia! Pro number 3, the pace of life here is significantly slower than the Bay Area for sure. Me and my husband, when we're walking, we're not walking, we're mobbing it. But the thing that's funny is that everybody is they're chilling, they're slow, and it's been helping us to kind of calm down a little bit. Like, we don't need to mob it everywhere. But coming from the Bay, it's hard to break some of those habits, but the pace of life has been significantly better. I can say that for a fact that I do feel a lot better mentally, as far as not feeling like, life is just passing me by. Pro number 4 is gonna kind of cross over into con number 1, but affordability. Moving over here, our rent is significantly lower. Our electricity and our water is significantly lower. Even our Wi-Fi and our phone bill is lower. But tying into that con, all these apartments out here, they have these little packages that you pay for Wi-Fi, you pay for the clubhouse, you pay for your pets, you pay for blah, blah, blah. They list it all, but you can't opt out of it. So there's just certain things that suck because the rent will start really low. And then once they start adding on those things, you're like, oh, okay, so it's not really affordable. So depending on your situation and depending on what apartment you look at and what they offer, that could be something that you'll have to figure out with your finances if you're researching. But overall, summarizing everything, the affordability is both a pro and a con here. The healthcare. When my husband and I were researching moving over here, I already knew healthcare was going to be an issue. Me and my husband, we do not we do not qualify for free healthcare, and we cannot afford to pay for healthcare. So that is probably an important thing to consider if you're a young person moving over here, because if you're getting into outdoor activities, or if you're like me wanting to become a mom, those things are very important. And so that is something that we're still trying to figure out with the healthcare thing. And honestly, that's just something that it is what it is. I'm not sure where Nevada is with their healthcare. I already kind of knew that Nevada was already a bad state for healthcare and schools. So that was just kind of something we were coming here to deal with just because we wanted to try a new state. So I don't know what the future looks like for that, but I know there are families out here that are making it work. And so I'll just kind of leave it at that. Con number 3, coming from California, we are so spoiled with basically perfect weather like all the time. And so far, being here for 1 month in the summer has been kind of a little bit of a roller coaster because I'm used to the dry heat. I come from, South Bay, so the summers can get hot. It can get up to 3 digits. It's not really a big thing. But over here, we're at a higher elevation, so it's just a different level of heat. And so we did have a week where we had 3-digit numbers, and that was pretty hard. Also, the other issue is that if you're out here in the summer, you need an AC. You need AC in your car, and you need an AC in your apartment. Unfortunately, our apartment, our AC kind of works, not really. So we were kind of baking a little bit for that short week. The other weird thing is that there were some thunderstorms out here in the summer. It was pouring rain for like a good 20-30 minutes. It was very interesting. A few days ago, there was also another random thunderstorm, and some of them lightning strikes. They were pretty scary, and I was like just not used to it, because usually where I'm from, you get a thunderstorm warning, but you like hardly ever see it. And then there were some flood warnings, some wildfire, like some crazy wildfires out here. If you Google some, fires that were happening between California and Nevada, they were enough to cause a state of emergency here in Nevada. And coming from California, honestly, that's nothing new because we deal with crazy wildfires all the time. But it was just a little off-putting, and I know winter is coming, I know fall is coming, and snow is something that happens here. I haven't experienced those things, and I will get back to you on that. But I've heard after those things happen, it's very, very beautiful, and so I look forward to kind of experiencing that. The last con that I would share so far, being here for 1 month, keep that in mind, is the music scene is kind of non-existent unless you are performing at a casino. I haven't really been able to find too many open mics. I haven't really been able to find a little bit of a producer scene or music scene in general. I know there's people out there in this Reno area that make music, whether it's hip hop or rock, but I just haven't found those people, and I haven't found any sort of community board or any flyers or nothing, walking down downtown Reno, but maybe I'm just walking in the wrong places. So the music scene is a little bit limited. Doing a little bit of research online, there's a lot of artists that complain about being an artist here in Reno, and so it's kind of interesting to hear those things because some of it is similar to what people deal with in the Bay Area, where just people are not very communicative in a sense of being an artist.
I feel like we have this conversation amongst ourselves all the time, and it's because nobody really supports each other out here. But then also nobody ever does anything to change that.
It would be interesting to continue down looking for artists, looking for collaborators and stuff like that. So I will update that con just to see if it gets any better. So and the last thing I'll say about the cons is that I'm not trying to shit on Nevada. I'm not trying to shit on Reno area. But, these are some of the negative things that they're not like that bad, but it's just like, it's the same thing of going to California. There's a lot of there's a lot of cons that you'll list if you go. So it is what it is. Every place has pros and cons. Everybody has different perspectives. And if that hurts your feelings, just leave it in the comments and I'll just ignore you. So just want to shout out to all the Nevadians for welcoming, us. There's been a lot of cool people that we've been able to meet and very down to earth people. And surprisingly, there's a lot of people who have left other states to come here. And there's also a lot of people from California who come here. Anyways, I'm ranting too much. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Leave a comment if you have moved to another state and if you found it to be better or worse. If you're someone who likes music, check out my music. There's a lot of music on my YouTube as well as my artist journey. And I hope to make another video soon later this year to kind of update more and share my experiences. With that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.